This is a game changer eclipse season, and this lunar eclipse on March 25th is going to unearth your subconscious patterns, show you the power dynamics that are no longer working for you, make you reevaluate relationships both internally and externally. And because many of us are going to be taking sudden turns and experiencing major changes in mid to late April, it's vitally important that you take necessary steps to discard, release, and even scrap some of your plans and projects. And because this lunar eclipse is happening in the sign of Libra, I will be sharing energetically toning and balancing points at the end of this video. My name is Masami Covey. I'm a health intuitive, functional nutritional therapist, and a moon enthusiast. I lead women in rediscovering the wisdom of living with the lunar cycles during and beyond menopause. If you're interested in lunar cycles, learning about moon wisdom, and how the moon impacts various organs, systems, hormones, and even fascia, please consider subscribing to this channel. And our free live call for this month is on March 27th. So please join our email list so you can receive the Zoom link and the replay link as well. Okay, let's get started with this lunar eclipse. This lunar eclipse is full moon in Libra with the penumbral lunar eclipse, and it's happening on March 25th. That's Monday at midnight Pacific time and 3 a.m. Eastern time. And this lunar eclipse represents the ending or completion, reassessments of relationships, ending to the 18-year lunar eclipse cycles called Saros. This repeating eclipse patterns of this 18-year patterns was discovered by Babylonians, and it gives you an idea of how we are a part of this greater cosmic patterns and cycles forever that we've been going through this. And it's a little bit complicated, but it's a really good information to have and to learn about the Saros. So I created a free PDF on this very topic. And also in that, you will find 5 signs this March lunar eclipse is impacting you. So how to know that this eclipse is impacting you, your mind, body, and spirit in that PDF. So please check it out. I will put the link below for you to download. So I hope this will be helpful for you as well. And during this lunar eclipse and the 2 weeks prior to the solar eclipse, ask the following questions. What are you sloughing off? What is fading and parting, especially in relationships? Perhaps some things you have gone as far as you can take them. Some other questions are, what are you discarding and scrapping? Some ideas sounded good last year, especially maybe around October and November, because that's when we're having the eclipse seasons as well. But now you are realizing that it is not what you need to pursue any further. Some projects you have reached the end, not due to lack of trying, but simply it just doesn't have the spark, the right energy, right people, right timing, right support, and the momentum. So perhaps you have outgrown these relationships and even a project. Because this moon is in Libra, a sign associated with fairness, justice, balance, and equality, you can convince yourself and want to give it another try, especially if, say, a project got started with great intentions, a team, and energy. And you can continue to push yourself and encourage others because it did not come to a completion, or maybe you're in the midst of it. But the key is not to get swayed by fairness and trying to achieve balance and harmony in all aspects of your lives. Sometimes you have to draw a line, get clear with your boundaries, and decide what is needed and what's not needed right now for you to move forward. So this is going to be revealed fully during this lunar eclipse period. And that's about 2 weeks, so stay with it. And deciding to scrap an idea or a plan that isn't meeting your need for working out as imagined is actually fair and square and justified. Even though the project may not have reached its end goal, it's time to say goodbye. And this lunar eclipse is the time to address and review and reveal the compromises you have made for the sake of harmony, equality, and balance, especially if you didn't honor your personal needs and your true expression. And you may need to allocate some of your energy for an alternative plan, something quite different and even unconventional. And this could surprise people around you and even yourself. But people around you might think you have gone rogue because you have decided to put a stop to certain relationships or projects and came up with a totally new way of doing things, or just completely paused it. But, this is the power of the lunar eclipse. This lunar eclipse is to bring you back into alignment with your soul contract. So take your time and reassess your commitments, projects, and plans during this lunar eclipse period as you navigate the lunar eclipse on the 25th and the 2 weeks we have until the total solar eclipse. Again, do not feel obligated to continue if you know in your heart that it's no longer nourishing your soul. Work on what is live now. Don't get caught in the sunk cost. Just because you put money, time, and energy, that doesn't mean you need to continue to work on that. Chasing after dead-end relationships, plans, and projects, and continuing to believe in them can be detrimental to your whole being, especially your health as well. I know it's easier said than done, but this is the time to dare to discover the real need and the true you that is live right now. Get on the back of the dragon and explore different altitudes and perspectives. Stop herding the cows, which I talked about in the previous video. Cows stand for could, ought, would, and should. I will also include the video below, and this video was the first quarter moon video that I did most recently. And now let's get going with the points that I wanted to share with you today. This beautiful point is called Jing Yu in Japanese, and it's the bladder 23 point. It's between L3 and L2 and 2 fingers width from the spine. So let's look at the screen here. The image is here. And what you want to start with is put your hands on your hips, then slide your hands against iliac crest. That's the curved part at the top of the hip. And then gently rotate your elbows out and slightly back. So your hands are sliding back and you'll find this little kind of indentations. Most of us feel a little bit of maybe tenderness, soreness. Some of us feel little nodules there. So once you find that spot, go ahead and use gentle circling motions. You can go inward, you can go outward. It doesn't matter. Just let your body decide on that. Circling motion over that points for about 30 seconds. Then go ahead and pause for a moment. Take nice, slow breaths. Come back to your breaths. And again, go ahead and circle that area for about 30 seconds. And you can do this up to about 2 minutes. And of course, you can do just a little bit longer too, but I've noticed that about 2 minutes is just enough. And you can do this 2-3 times during the daytime. And then go ahead and pause. And then you can just rest your hands on that hip area, the curved part of the top of the hips, and just resting in that position as you breathe, because this is very helpful for breathing deeply and slowly and fully by having that position and pause. And this point tonifies the kidneys and adrenals, increase blood flow to your internal organs and strengthen them. This point is used to heal frequent urination. So I've been having a couple of my clients that are having nighttime frequency and urinating, and that can be, very disruptive to your sleep. So perhaps before you go to bed, maybe an hour to 2 before, work on those areas. And this is very healing. These points are very healing for chronic dullness and tiredness, heaviness in your legs and feet, indigestion, malabsorption, edema, and decreased energy and metabolic energy. These points have been used to work with menstrual cramps and chronic back pain. Also, this can be a great point for tinnitus because it's actually helping your kidneys. Even though this is the bladder points, this is connected directly to the kidneys. And these points can strengthen your core, increase your core temperature as well. And there was an interesting study that came out in 2020 from Stanford researchers. And the title of this research was called Decreasing Human Body Temperature in the United States Since the Industrial Revolution. So our body temperatures in the US has been declining since the 1800s. Well, so you may argue that, maybe our core temperatures are not supposed to be 98.6. But the fact is, there are a lot of studies also showing when your core temperatures drop, you can end up having metabolic issues, maybe other diseases, other health concerns that can come up. So growing up in Japan, I was advised to keep my hara, my core region, warm. So to keep the organs and various systems working at the optimal level. So maybe using these points, especially if you're feeling like there's cold sensations in your body, if you've noticed that your core temperature has been dropping, use these points regularly throughout the day. And remember that the bladder stores waste and toxins from the kidneys and removes them from the body in the form of urine. So, it's like it's perfect. The reason why this point or points came to me intuitively is that this lunar eclipse is so important for discarding, releasing, and removing. And that's why I really feel like this was a great point to introduce to all of you. And what I also love about these points is that this is the power pose that Amy Cuddy talked about. It's back in 2011. It's hard to believe that's been that long, but she did this really great TED Talk. And she introduced the Wonder Woman pose by putting your hands on your hips and having your elbows kind of open out and your shoulders are pulled back. And so your chest is open, your lungs are fully kind of extended, but there's a lot of spaciousness right in the heart center. So when you're working on this bladder points, you are actually creating this power pose, right? This power pose is a great way to feel confident and self-assured about your decisions, okay? Because you'll be making some major decisions in the next 2 weeks, whether to discontinue certain projects or relationships, or come up with something unique and quite different and unconventional, right? So use these points as you stand with your feet shoulder width apart, so your whole body is involved in your decision and you can step into more embodied expression, especially during this lunar eclipse period. For those of you that have been following my work for a long time, you know that I teach tools and many ways to live and methods so that you can live embodied life. And that is my main mission in life. I don't want you to disconnect yourself from your physiology, your biology, and your fascia, your organs, and so on and so forth. The ascension is not about moving yourself away from this body and disregarding or moving beyond this physiology. It's really all about waking down into who you are. So I love these points for those reasons as well. And I talked about the topic of self-esteem during the Year of the Dragon call, but this fundamental power, which is the self-esteem, is so essential during this eclipse season. I recommend you go back and revisit this topic during this very powerful period. I will include the link to the Year of the Dragon call that I did, because this is such a great time to revisit and review that call and, really reassess what's my next step, or what are some of the things that I need to change based on the Year of the Dragon, as well as this lunar eclipse energy. We can all use a boost of self-esteem from time to time, right? And this eclipse season will most certainly require you to tap into that inner confidence, capabilities, and also clear boundaries. Hope this information will support you in navigating the eclipse season, and especially the next 2 weeks. So stay tuned. I will be creating more videos and supporting you as we get closer to the solar eclipse as well. Until then, namaste.